There was this book a long time ago called Everything I Needed to Know I Learned in Kindergarten. So like, one of the things you learned in kindergarten was keep your hands to yourself. Like, in the workplace, keep your hands to yourself. If you're a man and there's a woman and it's a really stressful situation, don't go up and give her a back rub. Just don't. Like, it's not your place.
Yeah.
Like, it's condescending. It has the potential of being taken the wrong way. Like, there's all sorts of things that could go wrong with that, Now, should everybody chill out and, maybe not take everything quite so, personally or like offensively or okay, but still, like, you don't know who's going to take something personally or offensively. So everything you needed to know, you learned in kindergarten. Keep your hands to yourself.
Yeah.
Don't touch a woman in the workplace if you're a man.
Yeah.
Just don't.
Yeah. Is there ever, I guess, I feel like human touch goes a long way. I understand there's boundaries and there's, intentions, but maybe I can visibly see that you're shaking and you might be cold. This is a hypothetical, right? I see you're shaking, the room's cold. If I approach you and I'm like, Michelle, are you cold? And I start rubbing your back or like I
not appropriate.
Not appropriate. But what if I asked? So I was like, are you cold? Would a hug help? Is that appropriate?
Not appropriate. If
That's
you're
not
in
even
the
appropriate?
workplace, not appropriate.
Is it ever appropriate?
Never. Well, I mean, if you have a social relationship or a romantic relationship, it might be appropriate.
What if you have
If it's your mother, it might be appropriate. Yeah. If it's your aunt, it might be appropriate. But in the workplace, never appropriate.
Okay.
Keep your hands to yourself.
Okay. What if you have a social relationship with that person, but you're just with them in a workplace too? What if both?
Still not appropriate.
Still not appropriate.
Not appropriate. Like in a work setting, like treat everybody like colleagues. Like this is not social. Like this is not family time. This is not romance time. Yeah. This is work time. Yeah. And act like you're at work. Yeah. I have a thing when I get to work. It's like, welcome to work. Yeah. And that's a signal to your brain that you are acting like you're at work now, And so let's all treat each other like we're at work, not like we're at home or social or, family time. This is work time, and we're going to act like we're at work. And we're there to do a job, and we're going to do the job. And, comforting people or what, that's not to say don't be warm or collegial or whatever, but act like you're at work.
No, I get that. And this more than anyone. So Tommy and I, we went out to Anahuac, okay, to meet with a client at the time who was doing trial prep. And this firm bought this house on the lake, and they all like made tables and desks all over the living room, and they're all they did like this thorough trial prep. They had the paralegals there and all these associates, and they're there for 8, 9, 10 hours at a time. Yep. And they're just like to the middle of the night, 1, 2, 3 in the morning. So I guess where I'm coming from is like, it's not as like black and white as like you're in a building office and you're at work. Like this is like 10:30, 11. And I get it could be more inappropriate, but I also see this other side where it's like, if stress builds so much and you're really just trying to relieve stress and just like, hey, like we're people at the end of the day, everything's gonna be okay. Like, let me grab your hand. Like we're good. Like we're connected. You grab hand to give blessings.
Grabbing hands is fine.
Yeah, but can someone then turn that and be like, I don't like the way he grabbed my hand. I was inappropriate.
Yeah. Well, I mean, somebody can make something negative out of anything.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the truth. But, in the context of what somebody might view as sexual harassment or what somebody might view as inappropriate touch, that's where you have to look at the line. Shaking hands is an accepted, form of business touch. And in a certain circumstance, like holding hands in a team building sort of way might be an acceptable touch. But, rubbing someone's shoulders probably is not going to be received as a common business type of a touch between colleagues.
Yeah.
That's going to be perceived as crossing over into some other type of relationship. Now, maybe you don't mean it romantically. Maybe it's just meant as stress relieving or friendly or team building or camaraderie, but you don't know how they're going to receive it. Like you're delivering a message and all you can do is put the message out in the world. You don't know how the recipient is going to receive it. And that's the problem. Yeah. And so you just don't want to send out a message that's going to get received wrong if you can help it.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's perfectly fair. I guess I want to challenge some of these things because I've seen moments where things get taken the wrong way, but I've also seen people, be kind of physically not abused, but maybe misappropriated or mishandled in situations, which I get.
And some women in the workplace don't want to be touched.
Yeah.
I'm not a super big hugger.
Yeah.
Like some contexts I am, most contexts I'm not.
Yeah.
And especially in the workplace. And, there was a time whenever I was a younger lawyer that, and understand this is 20, 30 years ago, but there was a time where male lawyers would use physical touch in an inappropriate way as a power move, right? And so there were lawyers that I knew to avoid or see coming because they would, in front of clients, inappropriately physically touch me. There was one specifically that would come at me full on hug. There was another that would actually attempt to kiss me on the lips in front of my client, opposing counsel in front of my client.
Wait, hold on. What why? What's the reasoning?
Oh, I mean, that's just a greeting, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, it's not. And so, as a young lawyer, I learned to turn the cheek real quick, but then I had to learn to body deflect, or if they come at you with a hug, you side hug or something, but then as you get older, older and maybe a little more crusty, we women learn some, ways of, you keep your purse in front of you. Isn't that one of the things that Princess Kate does?
Yeah.
That they teach in royalty school is you have your purse clutch. She always carries a little clutch with a handle. And she always carries it in front of her. Yeah. And that's a physical deflection of people getting, crossing that physical boundary with her and coming in for the hug because they all want to touch her.
Yeah.
So, you have some physical boundary that keeps that from happening, or you just simply put your hand out, and you smile. You can smile while you do it and be friendly and be like, oh, hey, or cough.
Yeah.
Right as they're coming in, cough.
That's a good one.
But come up with some strategy for keeping that from happening without having to be rude or whatever. I mean, should women have to have a strategy to avoid physical touch in the workplace to not be rude? No. But is it better than having conflict and confrontation and then getting the reputation of being the difficult one? I mean, yeah. So, having some physical strategy of not having the male power player coming on in for that physical touch that demeans you in front of a client, absolutely.
Yeah, no, there's so much layers to this. You're right. And obviously, I'm a grown ass man. I don't have to worry about half the things. And it's interesting when I listen to women talk about it because they have to, it's in social dynamics, especially professional, social dynamics. There's 5 different layers that they're considering that most just men aren't even.
Men don't
about.
even have to think about
They're
that.
Not,
women walk through the world
Yeah.
half scared every day.
Yeah.
I was just at 7-Eleven. I don't have a car today. And I Ubered because I went to go get a protein shake at 7-Eleven. And I Ubered from 7-Eleven to here for filming.
Yeah.
Well, just in that transaction, y'all wouldn't think 2 things about it. You're waiting on your Uber, you got your coffee or your drink or whatever, and you take the Uber here. Well, I have to think about, my surroundings. Is there anybody physically near me? Is the Uber driver safe? Do I have safety mechanisms just in taking an Uber? And then there's all these stories about the, what do you call that? Date rape drug? About roofie now being put on surfaces, and that there have been times where roofie, roofie has been put on surfaces in Ubers.
Oh wow!
To take advantage of women, and so now every time I get in an Uber, I'm like, okay, how much of a surface am I going to touch today? As a single woman traveling in an Uber, and I travel a lot.
Yeah.
So there's all sorts of safety concerns that women have to think through as you experience the world. Now, you could be scared of that. A woman could be like, oh, I'm so scared of the world, I'm not going to leave the house. That's not really good either.
Yeah.
Or you can come up with strategies for how you're going to deal with it. And then at some level, you kind of got to do and Tommy can bleep this, but you kind of got to do what Kevin Costner on Yellowstone does. And like, you got to just go experience the world and live your life and not be scared.
It is. I mean, it's so crazy how different these experiences are. And, I was having a conversation with one of my friends about Uber specifically, and about like Waymos and like these like cyber taxis that are, getting more popular with Tesla, like the self-driving cars with no driver. And I was like, I don't get it. Like, I'd rather have the driver there. Like, I like the conversation. I like the human connection of it. And the girl that I was speaking with was like, I just have such a preference for the Waymo. Like, it just makes so much more sense.
Well, it's like the argument or the discussion that happened a few years ago about, would you, if you're a woman and you are encountering a dark alley, would you rather encounter a man or a gorilla?
Oh, I didn't know this.
You didn't hear about that a couple of years ago?
That's crazy.
Yeah. Like, would you rather encounter a bear or a man? I think maybe it was a bear. I don't know. But like, the point of that is that women have to be so on guard because of how much they are taken advantage of by men and how much men present a security risk to us. And we don't know which ones are the good ones and which ones are the bad ones. You can't tell by looking.
Yeah.
The ones that even the ones that look good and smell good and sound good
could be the worst.
Can be the worst.
Could be the worst, yeah.
And so, given the choices in a dark alley, would you rather have a man or a gorilla? Like, I'll take an animal every day, right? Same thing with the Uber versus the self-driving car, right? Like, are we going to miss the human interaction? Yes. Does one bad apple spoil a bunch? Yes. But right, I agree that the self-driving cars eliminate the extra layer for me as a woman of, there is another human in that car, and that is a risk to me because I don't know them. I don't know the security risk they present to me. Yeah,
and it's a small, intimate space, and it's you're kind of on an island in a lot of ways when you're in somebody else's car and you're not driving.
Right. I mean, even so, yesterday I Ubered from the airport to my house.
Yeah.
And the map that the Uber had him go was a way that I wouldn't have gone if I were going from the airport to my house. And so the minute that I saw him change lanes to go a different direction, I was like, wait, what? Huh? Whoa, huh? And I had to pull up the Uber map and I looked to make sure that he was going the direction the Uber map said to go, which he was. And then I was like, oh, okay, this is where we're going. I get it now. And I know Uber has like security measures in place that if they go off script, it'll ring some alarms or something. So that's good that Uber's done that. But for me, I don't trust even that in that moment, because by the time that it goes off script and Uber has something to do about it, like, it's already a problem for me. So the minute he changed lanes in an unexpected way, like, I was on my phone, I had my earpods in, like, I wasn't paying any attention to him until he changed lanes. And then my little tentacles popped up and I was like, oh, I checked the map and I'm like, okay, we're good. We're still on track. He's just going a different way. And it was fine. But when I'm in an unfamiliar town or city or something, like, I am 100% paying attention to where we're going, how we're going to get there. Because if I'm going on an airplane, I can't even take pepper spray with me. If I'm traveling to an unfamiliar town as a single businesswoman who travels for meetings, like, I can't take pepper spray.
Wait, so they don't let you take pepper spray?
It's I mean, I probably could pack it, I guess, but there's all sorts of problems with taking a weapon on a plane, especially a pressurized weapon.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so, like, I have no knife, no gun, no pepper spray, no method of defending myself other than my own wits and my own mouth and my own ability. I think my mouth is my best weapon, frankly. But I just have to be like super, I think as women, we have to be super cognizant of all of those things in a way that you guys y'all don't even, it's not even a conscious thought to y'all.
Mm-mm. I mean, not until like a problem arises. Like, if something happens that's odd or different, then you're starting to, your spidey senses kick in. But if everything is just kind of normal, I don't think about running at night. I don't think about running early in the morning before like the town's awake. I don't think about who's my driver.
And women that do that, I guarantee you they have pepper spray or they have martial arts training or something. But women probably are more likely than not to not run in the dark.
Yeah, I've talked to women. Like the fitness influencers I'm around, like, I don't go to Katy Trail when it's dark. And that's Katy Trail, a place that's, it's not like you're not running through the hood. You're running through like a nice trail.
Right, but it's covered with landscape along the sides and somebody could be hiding behind a tree.
Correct.
And has,
correct.
That has happened. It's happened at White Rock Lake in Dallas. It's happened at Katy Trail in Dallas. Like that stuff happens every day to women. Now, is it one time out of 10,000 women that run? Okay.
Yeah, but you don't want to be the one.
It's still one.
Yeah. Why you roll the dice? I mean, when you walk into an Uber as a woman, if the driver is a woman, do you feel different immediately? Does that matter?
10,000%. When I get in an Uber and it's a female driver, I breathe a sigh of relief. And Uber actually has now the selection where you can select women drivers. And if I'm in an unfamiliar town or an unfamiliar, surroundings, I will pick that because I do feel so much relief just having a female driver.
Yeah.
Like comparing now, can female drivers be a threat also? I mean, of course.
Of course, yeah.
Could they go off script, drive somewhere and turn you over to, the cartel? I mean, nobody's going to steal me at this point in my life. Like the cartel's certainly not interested in me, but I'm not worth much. But for a young woman, that could happen. There's still threats, even with a female driver. But for me, the threat reduces dramatically with a female driver. Unfortunately, there just aren't enough female drivers because there's threats to them as female drivers from the clients they pick up. Yeah. So there's not enough female drivers out there. And so that, function on the Uber app doesn't work as well as I wish it did. Sometimes you have to wait too long or the price is more or whatever, and they may not make as much money. So yeah, 100%. I breathe a sigh of relief whenever I get a female driver.
Is there, cause I do think this is like good internet content and like it is pretty interesting. Like, my girlfriend's dad, her preference for her when she's getting an Uber, like in a town that she's not in, or if she's just ever alone, is to get like a Uber Black because the more premium just adds like a layer of safety. Mm-hmm. How real is that? Is that something that you believe in too?
100%. I agree with that. I mean, it's not, none of these things are fail-proof, right?
Yeah.
But by having the nicer car, the nicer situation, they have to show, a little more care in their, in their concern of their car even. And, and usually their star ratings are higher. They have more rides that they've done where people will actually rate them. So the drivers have a little bit more, social proof, so to speak.
I see.
The driver I had coming from the airport yesterday, I ordered the cheap one, which was my fault. But right now in Dallas, FIFA has caused prices of Ubers to skyrocket. Mm-hmm. And yesterday, the airport was insane because we have the big game coming up tomorrow. Yeah. And I can only imagine what the airport's like, today leading into the game tomorrow. But yesterday, the airport was crazy. Yeah. And so Uber prices were crazy. To order a Black, it was at least double or more the price. So I ordered the cheap one. I wasn't impressing anybody. I was just going to my house. Nobody's going to see me. And I got a dirty van that was literally hadn't been vacuumed ever. And, and I did feel very different. Not about the driver himself. He was friendly and fine. And we had conversation, which made me feel a little better. I always try, whenever I get an Uber driver, to have some amount of personal conversation, even if I'd really rather just not talk. But I always try to have a friendly greeting, how's your day going? Something that gives at least a little bit of camaraderie in that situation. Because I feel like if they had malintent, maybe they wouldn't if I was friendly.